Today we're talking about the top 5 online test kits for perimenopause. I'm Dr. Shelley Mara. Thanks so much for joining me. If you're coming back, thanks so much for coming back and sticking around. And if you're new here, thanks so much for joining me. So we're talking about perimenopause again today, and we're talking about test kits online for perimenopause. So a lot of times women want to do their own testing at home, and that's understandable. It's annoying to go to the doctor sometimes, and it's frustrating sometimes when they don't know about perimenopause, so these test kits can help. But I have some caveats here. I have some reviews on them, so stay tuned. I will kind of go through the pros and the cons of them, but there are some viable options you can pursue at home. So I am a functional medicine doctor, a registered dietitian. Sorry, I know what I am. I'm a functional medicine doctor, a registered dietitian, and a family doctor. And I have my own practice in Denver, Colorado, Highlands Health and Wellness. So I work with women all the time on perimenopause. So that is what we're talking about again today. And I have our blog, perimenopause.help. And I am going to just go to that real quick. So give me a second, because I just did a whole blog on this. So if you don't want to take any notes, you want to know the pros and cons of each of these tests, check out the blog, perimenopause.help. So we were going to talk about the top 5 that you can order, test kits you can order at home. These are the most popular ones on the internet, and I'm going to kind of give you my thoughts on each of those. But if you don't know what perimenopause is, you're probably not watching this video anyway, but just to review, it is the 2 to 8+ years leading up to menopause. And menopause is the last day, the final day, when a woman hasn't had a period for a year. So everybody thinks of hot flashes and night sweats and insomnia and mood swings and all that as menopause, but you can actually have it in these years leading up to menopause. Also start with estrogen dominance, and I have whole blogs on that. I have videos on that too. So it's when your estrogen kind of peaks and valleys and drives you a little crazy, and then the progesterone is slowly declining. So you have this gap between the progesterone and the estrogen, and that's when you will feel acne, insomnia. I was trying to combine those two, and sometimes even the night sweats and mood swings. A lot of times the mood swings and heavier periods, more erratic periods. So why would we want to test at home? Like I said, it's easier. Gives you that privacy, and you just get more information before you kind of come armed and talk to your doctor about this. And by the way, I am a functional medicine doctor and family doctor and hormone health doctor, but I'm not your doctor. So if you have test results that you want to discuss, bring them to your doctor. And if you don't have a doctor that's trained in perimenopause, look for one that talks about it on their website, because you do want somebody that doesn't blow you off when you are concerned about whatever you might find in these results. So that's some of the benefits. Convenience, also sometimes cheaper if you have a high deductible or high copay. So let's talk about what they're testing. A lot of times the most basic tests will usually test follicle stimulating hormone, and that comes down from our pituitary, goes to our ovaries, messaging hormone that says, our hormones are getting low. Ovaries, let's make more estrogen, let's make more progesterone, let's get this show on the road here. And that number will go really high towards the end of perimenopause, that FSH number, and that's what a lot of these kits are testing. Some of them are testing luteinizing hormone, another messaging hormone that comes down from our pituitary when our ovaries start to slow down, and helps to kind of give that message along with the FSH. To stimulate that ovarian follicle. They're still trying to make you have babies, even though you may not be wanting to have babies. That's the body's just trying to keep up with what it feels like the female gender is supposed to be doing, or the born female sex is supposed to be doing. So some of them will check estradiol also, and that is estrogen, basically. It's just the way we check estrogen, the most common lab form of it, most prominent form of estrogen, I should say. That is checked for in like blood tests and some of these tests too. And it can fluctuate, like I said, during estrogen dominance. So in the first phase of perimenopause, it can fluctuate. At other times in your life, pregnancy, PCOS can make it kind of surge. So that is something that tests. And a lot of times when women's estrogen is dominant, like I said, you can have irritability, acne, weight gain. You can also have some hot flashes when it's trending down, the estrogen. And progesterone is another hormone Not tested in a lot of these kits, but when progesterone declines, and it does in perimenopause, that's what it does gradually, you can have night sweats and mood changes, insomnia, shorter cycles. I do have a whole blog on shorter menstrual periods, and like when it's all compressed in the second phase, so and bleeding in between periods, that's probably progesterone a lot of times, the spotting in between the cycles. So those are some of the things that some of these can look at. Now let's talk about the tests before we get too far into this. So Everlywell Perimenopause Test. Everlywell has a ton of at-home kits you can do. And I think it's convenient, and they do offer some good tests. A lot of times they're not very in depth, but that's okay. You know, you can start there and then see someone like me, integrative health or a hormone doctor or hormone provider, or functional medicine provider, anybody, even your regular provider, if they do this kind of thing. So this one tests for FSH, that follicle stimulating hormone, luteinizing hormone, and estradiol. It measures those three. It is $99 at this time, at the time I'm recording this. I'll put some links in the description down below. So relatively affordable, expensive for some people, but it does give you that convenience at home. Tests 3 of the key hormones. Their online results are delivered securely and quickly. It's a CLIA certified lab, so it is a reputable lab. It's unavailable in New York, so if you're watching this from New York, you can't get it there, as you can't with a lot of labs. And then you have a support team there from Everlywell. But there are some cons. It's not going to individualize your care, and it doesn't test all the hormones that it could. But it is a finger stick test, so there's a little pain with that too. But just on your finger, it's not going in your vein or anything. So it'll look at, is your FSH surging and there's LH surging, meaning you're towards the end of perimenopause. Is the estradiol low? Since it has estradiol in there, it can catch the surging estradiol too. So it could give you that information on early perimenopause too. So that's one benefit when you do see estradiol in these kits. Clearblue Menopause Stage Indicator. Now this one's pretty basic, but it is good because it has, you can test over time. So it's I think it's 5. Yeah, you test over 5 days. And you can look at your FSH, follicle stimulating hormone levels over those 5 days. It looks like one of their pregnancy tests where you pee on a stick. So it's all urine, so there's no pain there. It's budget friendly, $39.99. You do have that simple, easy to use option. It is a simple, easy to use option and more affordable. Also I found that it was cheaper, and I'll put a link down below on Amazon. There's a link. But all it shows you is that FSH. So it can show you if you have that high FSH, and when it's high, that means the body's trying to make more estrogen, or the body wants you to make more estrogen, and therefore you're getting closer to that second stage, like post-menopause. If it's low FSH, you're probably not in that stage. So at least it kind of narrows it down there, early, late perimenopause. Or if it's variable FSH, just shows you you're in that kind of in-between stage. It also has an algorithm that uses your personal tracked information on an app, so it can be very individualized for you. It's not as comprehensive. It takes 10 days to get the results. Those are some of the cons, and it doesn't have any kind of physician consulting like some of the other services. So number 3 would be MyLabBox. They make different lab kits you can do at home, and this one's called At Home Perimenopause Test. It's a finger prick test, gets a little blood sample. If you don't like blood, you might not want to use one of these finger prick and just stick with the Clearblue. But it has estradiol, FSH, and LH. So the same 3 that Everlywell had. Bit more, no, same price. $99. You can use an FSA or HSA card, so that's cool. It's a CLIA certified lab again. Your results are available within a few days of turning it in. You can consult with a physician for personalized guidance there. So if you don't have a doctor who's comfortable with hormones, you could use this kit and talk with one of their doctors. And it does look at the key hormones. You may need a little bit further advice after you talk with that doctor. We'll see, it depends on how your consultation goes. And it's unavailable in New York also. And then there's a LetsGetChecked female hormone test. So this one looks at estradiol, prolactin, FSH, and LH. I think it's interesting that they have prolactin in there. So it's not totally geared for perimenopause, but they market it for perimenopause. So it's popular online. But it does have, some of this, all the same ones as the other perimenopause, so I can see why they market it. But prolactin, I'm just saying, isn't usually something we check for perimenopause. So FSH and LH, again, signal, pituitary, ovaries. What's going on ovaries? Let's go. So those numbers are going to be high if you're in late perimenopause or early menopause, depending on if you've had a period in the last year. Also the estradiol, is it high? Is it low? What stage are you in? I can tell you. And then prolactin, that is made in our pituitary, and if that's high, it could have to do with irregular periods, but again, we don't check it all that often. I worry if it's high if there's a benign tumor in your brain. It's not cancerous, but there is a benign, kind of common tumor you can have that can make your prolactin go high. So if it's really high, definitely make sure you get checked out. The price is $139. It can go down to $97.30 for a subscription for a test kit every 3 months. So you could test yourself over time. So it's more expensive. You can consult with one of their healthcare professionals, so that's good. Quick, secure online results. FSA and HSA, you can use those cards if you have one with your health insurance, and you can do a subscription. So that's pretty cool, but it is higher priced. You can't do it in New Jersey, New York, Rhode Island, or Maryland, or Canada, or in the outlying territories of the US, so it's more limiting. And then it could be more helpful for fertility versus actual perimenopause staging. Okay, so the final one would be the Oova, and this is my favorite. It is more, I don't know if it's more expensive, we'll see in a second, but it is expensive. Not as expensive as like the Dutch test that I do, and I love the Dutch test, but the Dutch test gives you a lot more information than this. It doesn't look at all the same stuff either. If you are confused on what that is, just check out some of my I have a whole video on the Dutch test. So the Oova test looks for estrogen, progesterone, FSH, and LH. So it's got all the 4 key players in perimenopause. And the benefit of having that, and it's $159 or $129 for their subscribe and save option. So it's got all the key players. So if it can look at progesterone also to see is how low is that? Is that causing insomnia? Is that causing it? Maybe you should get on some progesterone. Maybe you don't want to get on some progesterone. Maybe you should try some Vitex. Check out my Perimenopause.help blog. Information on low progesterone, whole nother topic, and my videos on low progesterone. But it depends on your health history. You got to talk to your provider, but there are directions you can go in if your progesterone is low and causing like night sweats and mood changes and spotting and that kind of thing. Again, estrogen, it can tell you if it's high or low. It can tell you what stage you're in. The FSH and LH also can help with the staging. So more comprehensive, you have a dedicated team of experts. They have an app, and it's FSA and HSA, so you can use those funds from your insurance if you're allowed to. And then you can have a subscription too. The only con I have on that one is it's more expensive than the others. So those are the top. Oova is my favorite. I will put some links in the description down below to what I was talking about as far as some of the ones that are available on Amazon, because they're a little cheaper on there and you can follow that link to get that discount. And if you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, I'll see you next time.